When you picture Wales, maybe it's Cardiff Castle that comes to mind. Or perhaps the mountains in Snowdonia.
Right. Or maybe St. David's Day, the daffodils and all that, the usual touchstones.
Exactly. But, well, what if we told you there's this whole other layer? Sort of wonderfully quirky, unexpected stuff about Wales that, honestly, might just make you smile.
And that's really what we're getting into today based on these fascinating insights you shared from someone who's actually lived there for, over 27 years?
Yeah, a long time. So the idea is to go beyond those, standard postcard views.
To really explore some of the surprising gems. It's packed with them.
Totally. Forget the predictable stuff. We're looking at things that often fly under the radar, like place names that just seem to go on forever.
That one's a classic.
Or, animal stats that are just wild, and some really delightful cultural bits and pieces.
Those wait really moments, as you said?
Precisely. Like, have you ever heard of a place name quite that long? Or a country where, the sheep basically run the place?
Right. Huh. Numerically, anyway.
Right. Just a little taste. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with that absolutely legendary place name.
Let's do it. Your sources definitely highlight this one. Wales holds the European record for the longest place name. It's quite something.
It really is, and it's not just long. It's an epic. Landverfrau Gwyngogodogopwin Grugo Quirkiest.
Nicely attempted.
58 letters. I mean, just saying part of it is like a linguistic workout.
No wonder most people just say Landverpulgwing.
Or even just Landfair PG sometimes, right?
Yep.
Or Landfairplo.
Exactly.
Much easier.
But it really shows something about, maybe that Welsh sense of humor. Or just making a statement.
Well, and there's a story behind the length, too. It means something quite specific.
Oh, right. The translation is like a little poem itself.
It is. St. Mary's Church in the hollow of the White Hazel near a rapid whirlpool, and the Church of St. Tysilio near the Red Cave.
Wow. So descriptive, like a mini-map.
Exactly. And, it wasn't originally that long. It was Landfairpulgwang. Okay, so where did the rest come from?
Well, the story goes, and your source mentions this, that a local tailor added the extra bit.
A tailor? Seriously? Why?
It's a publicity stunt, apparently to attract tourists, to get the railway to stop there, that kind of thing.
No way. That's brilliant. And did it work?
It seems like it absolutely did. It's probably one of the most famous place names in the world now, partly because of its length.
Incredible. Just goes to show a bit of clever marketing, eh?
Definitely. Local ingenuity at its finest.
Okay, so from long names to large numbers, let's talk sheep. Your sources mentioned something pretty staggering about the sheep population.
Oh, yes, the sheep. Well, the human population in Wales is around, 3.1 million people, give or take?
Right, about that.
Okay, now brace yourself. The sheep population, it's nearly 10 million.
10 million? Seriously?
Nearly. According to Business Wales data mentioned in the source.
That's almost 3 sheep for every single person living there.
Exactly. 3 to 1. It really gives you a sense of the landscape, doesn't it? Lots of green hills.
It certainly does. And apparently, Wales has almost a third of all the sheep in Great Britain.
That's what the figures suggest, a huge concentration.
So if you visit Wales, you're pretty much guaranteed to see sheep everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. They're a fundamental part of the scenery and, of course, the agriculture.
Which makes sense. All that space, all that history. Which kind of leads us nicely into castles, doesn't it?
It does, because when you think of castles, maybe Germany comes to mind, or France.
Right, those fairy tale castles.
But Wales, surprisingly perhaps, has more castles per square mile than any other country in Europe.
More than anywhere else. Wow. How many are we talking?
The figure usually quoted is over 600.
600. Dotted all over the country.
Pretty much. And they range hugely. You've got some that have been lived in for, thousands of years in various forms.
Like Cardiff Castle?
Exactly. Nearly 2,000 years old in terms of continuous settlement. And then you have these incredible historic ruins.
So why so many? What's the story there?
Well, it boils down to a long, often quite turbulent history. Lots of conflict, particularly with England.
Ah, the English-Welsh conflicts.
Precisely. So castles were built by Welsh princes, by English kings, basically for control, for defense, strategic locations.
Makes sense. So if someone was visiting and they wanted to see just a few key ones?
Oh, tough choice. But the sources highlight a few good ones. Conwy Castle is amazing, 13th century. Caernarfon is another iconic one.
Huge, imposing places.
Definitely. And Cardiff Castle, as we mentioned, for that sheer length of history right in the capital.
Right. It feels like you could spend years just exploring the castles.
You really could. It's like stepping back in time.
Okay, so from ancient walls to something much more modern but equally impressive in its own way. Wales is the only country with a path around its entire coastline.
That's right, the Wales Coast Path. It's complete, continuous, unique in the world, apparently.
How long is it? It must be massive.
It is 870 miles, or 1,400 kilometers.
Wow. So you definitely couldn't walk it all in one go.
Not unless you had a lot of time. But it means the entire stunning Welsh coast is accessible. It starts up near the English border in the northeast.
Near Flint.
Yeah, around there. And it winds all the way down, hugging the coast, finishes near Chepstow, back near the English border in the southeast.
That's incredible. When did that open? It sounds like a huge undertaking.
Relatively recently, actually. It officially opened in 2012, a major achievement for access and tourism.
Definitely. Something for the hikers. Now, thinking about symbols of Wales, the flag is pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's got a dragon on it. How cool is that?
Very cool. Are there many other countries with dragons on their flags?
Very few. The sources mention only two others, Bhutan and Malta. So Wales is in quite exclusive company there.
And the dragon, White Dragoko. That's got a long history, right? It's not just a modern thing.
Not at all. It's been a symbol of Wales for, well, potentially thousands of years, but certainly recognized for centuries. It was officially adopted for the flag in 1959.
Only 1959. Feels older.
The official flag adoption, yes. But the dragon itself, as a Welsh symbol, there's belief it goes back to at least the 7th century.
Wow.
And there's even a legend, connecting it to King Arthur, that he used a dragon standard in battle way back in the 6th century.
King Arthur.
Yeah.
So myth and history all woven together.
Very much so. It's a really powerful, enduring symbol. Why Dridgok? It's roughly pronounced Dridgok.
Right, Greek. Got it. Okay, another slightly surprising connection now. Mount Everest. Not in Wales, obviously.
Huh. No, definitely not. Though Snowdonia is impressive, it's not quite the Himalayas.
Right. But there is a Welsh connection to the name Everest.
There is, yes. The mountain is named after Sir George Everest. He was a British surveyor, the Surveyor General of India for a time.
Okay. And the Welsh bit.
He was born in Wales, in Crickhowell, a town in South Wales.
Really? George Everest was Welsh-born.
Well, born in Wales. Though it's fair to say, your source notes, there's a bit of debate. Some sources say he might have been born in Greenwich, London.
Ah. Okay, so a contested Welsh connection, perhaps. But still, Crickhowell often claims him.
They do. Quite a contrast, Crickhowell and the Himalayas.
Definitely. Okay, from the highest mountain to something much smaller and, for some people, quite magical. Dobby's grave.
Yes. For the Harry Potter fans out there, this is a fascinating one. Dobby the House Elf's grave is in Wales.
Where exactly?
It's on Freshwater West Beach, which is in Pembrokeshire. Beautiful spot.
And people actually go there, like a pilgrimage site.
Absolutely. It's become quite the thing. Fans leave memorials.
What kind of memorials?
Well, there's often a sort of makeshift cross, lots of painted stones with messages, and of course socks.
Socks. Because Dobby was freed with a sock. That's brilliant.
Exactly. And quotes from the movie written in the sand sometimes. It's quite a touching little fan-made shrine in the dunes.
That's really sweet, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting gears again to national emblems. We talked about the dragon, but the leek.
Ah, the humble leek. Yes, it's one of the national emblems of Wales alongside the daffodil.
It seems maybe a slightly strange choice. A vegetable.
Well, maybe at first glance. But like the dragon, it's steeped in history and legend.
Okay, tell me more. What's the story?
The most famous story goes back to a battle in the 7th century against the Saxons.
Wait.
Legend says that King Cadwalder of Gwynedd told his soldiers to wear leeks in their helmets or on their person somewhere,
Why?
so they could tell each other apart from the enemy in the heat of battle, distinguish friend from foe.
Ah, like a uniform marker. Clever.
And apparently the Welsh won a great victory that day, so the leek became a symbol of that victory and of Wales.
Fascinating. And people still acknowledge that.
They do. You'll definitely see people wearing leeks, real ones or symbolic ones, on St. David's Day, March 1st.
Alongside the daffodils. Okay, that makes more sense now. History, legend.
Exactly. Now, ready for some architectural oddity?
Always. What have you got?
Imagine finding a little piece of the Italian Riviera just plonked down on the Welsh coast.
An Italian village.
Yeah.
In Wales. No way.
Yes way. It's called Port Memarian. It's in North Wales, right on the coast, surrounded by woodland.
And it looks Italian.
Completely. It was designed by a Welsh architect, actually, Sir Clough Williams Ellis. Starting back in the 1920s, he was inspired by Mediterranean villages. So you've got colorful buildings, loggias, domed roofs, the whole feel.
That sounds incredible. And slightly surreal.
It really is. It feels like you've stepped into a different country. Plus, it has these amazing exotic gardens, miles of walking trails, lakes, beaches. It's quite the destination.
Definitely adding that to the list. Fort Marion. Got it. Okay, let's dip into the language again. You mentioned the long name.
Yeah.
Are there any other quirky Welsh words or phrases?
Oh, there are some fun ones. Your source points out the word for microwave.
Yep.
The official word is microdon, which is, logical enough.
Sounds like microwave.
Exactly. But colloquially, lots of people apparently call it a popty ping.
Popty. Ping.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Popty means oven, and ping, well, that's the sound it makes.
That's brilliant. Popty ping. I love it. It's so descriptive. Onomatopoeia in action.
It really is. And there are others like that, like bunch goff gota for a ladybug.
Bunch gota. What does that mean literally?
Little red cow.
Little red cow. Okay. And hamster.
Hamster is boshtu, which literally means fat cheeks.
Fat cheeks. That's perfect for a hamster. These literal translations are amazing. They give you a little window into how things are seen, don't they?
They really do. A playful side to the language.
Definitely.
Oh.
Okay, another connection, this time between towns. Hay on Wye?
Famous for books, right?
World famous. The town of books, the secondhand book capital.
Okay. And it's twinned with Timbuktu.
That's the one. Timbuktu.
Now, Timbuktu, you always hear it used as shorthand for the middle of nowhere, almost mythical.
Right, but it's a real city, of course, in northern Mali, historically incredibly important.
So what's the connection between a book town in Wales and Timbuktu? It seems unlikely. It's actually the love of books and learning. Hay on Wye with its bookshops, and Timbuktu, which is historically renowned for its vast collection of ancient manuscripts, Arabic and African texts.
Ah, so it's a literary link. That's wonderful.
It is, and it even led to a charity being formed, Haytu Timbuktu H2T, to support literacy and help preserve those manuscripts in Mali.
That's a really cool, meaningful twinning. I like that.
Me too. Shows how shared passions can connect very different places.
Okay, for our final quirky fact, let's end with a bit of an adrenaline rush. Wales is home to the world's fastest zip wire.
That's what the source says. Velocity, it's called, at Penrhyn Quarry.
Penrhyn Quarry. Okay, how fast are we talking?
Potentially over 100 miles per hour.
100 miles per hour on a zip wire.
Over 160 kilometers per hour. Apparently, it's also the longest zip line in Europe, almost 2 miles long.
Wow. Where is it? High up.
Oh, yeah. It's set in this huge former slate quarry about 1,500 feet above sea level, so you get incredible views of the mountains if you can keep your eyes open.
At 100 miles an hour. That sounds terrifyingly brilliant.
They have other stuff there, too, apparently. Like an Aero Explorer ride, quarry go-karts, tours of the quarry itself.
Wow.
A real adventure hub.
Sounds like it. A far cry from popty pings and leaks.
Huh. It certainly shows the variety, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
So, as we sort of wrap up this deep dive, it's clear there's just so much more to Wales than meets the eye, isn't there?
Absolutely. Beyond the castles and the mountains, there's all this this wonderful quirkiness, the long name, the sheep ratio, the Italian village, Dobby's grave.
The popty ping.
Can't forget the popty ping. We've covered quite a range of unexpected facts.
Yeah, hopefully listeners now have this, collection of surprising little nuggets about Welsh culture, history, geography, even zip wires.
Definitely some good conversation starters in there.
For sure. And maybe it leaves you wondering, which of these facts was the most surprising?
That's a good question. Did anything particularly jump out or maybe challenge what you thought you knew about Wales?
Right. Whether it's the story of the tailor and the long name, or maybe the sheer number of castles, or that startling sheep statistic.
Or perhaps even just the idea of a dragon on the flag, or the fastest zip wire.
Hopefully it sparks a bit of curiosity.
Right.
Maybe it makes you want to look into the Welsh language more, or the history, or even plan a visit.
Let's hope so. It's certainly shown there's a lot beneath the surface. A fascinating place.
Absolutely. Plenty to think about.